Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Adam Kiss Show. Today, it is my privilege to talk to you about George Stevens' masterpiece, Shane. It's absolutely my favorite Western, I would say, without a shadow of a doubt. My two favorite Westerns are probably Shane, High Noon, and then probably the third would be The Searchers. But definitely, as a whole, I'm not generally a Western person. Westerns are not necessarily my genre in the same way that science fiction is not necessarily my genre. But in both of those genres, there's definitely movies that I absolutely admire, and there's movies in both those genres that I love. And today, now that we're talking about Westerns, we'll talk about Shane, which is really my favorite Western and one of my favorite movies of all time. But before we get into all the intricacies of this great masterpiece, I want to take a moment to please ask you to subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. We've got plenty of great content coming your way. And you can help us out by also commenting below what other things you'd like me to talk about, what other filmmaking tips and tricks of the trades, or what other films or TV shows you'd like me to talk about. All right, so let's get into Shane. So Shane is a movie that happens to be a Western, but it doesn't have to be a Western. It could be set in any time, any place. The characters are all archetypes. The story is simple and good. It's all something that has been done a million times before, and it's been done a million times since. But I would say never quite as well, which is the important part. So it's not a complicated story. It's about this stranger, Shane, who rides in kind of with this mysterious past to help out these homesteaders, and they're trying to be run off their land, and the whole point is that he comes in their life and he helps them. And really the ending of the movie is extremely sad when he has to leave, and it's really one of the saddest moments in cinema. It's the tearjerker moment in cinema that can really make a grown man cry. It's one of those kind of intense moments in cinema, because he's grown close to the little boy, and the little boy saying goodbye, and it's all of that because he's a big role model for the boy. He's really, it's just really an incredibly sad moment at the end. It's an incredibly emotional film. It really grabs you, and it's just one of those movies. There's few characters. Obviously, interestingly enough, Jean Arthur plays her last film role. I believe she was about 50 years old, and the director George Stevens had worked with her in the past a lot of movies, like I think the Talk of the Town. A couple of movies like that, like Talk of the Town was with Cary Grant, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was definitely one movie that they worked together on. The point is that George Stevens worked with Jean Arthur a lot in the past, in the 30s, 40s, and he just felt that she would be perfect for this role, and she came out of retirement to do it, and then she didn't end up doing more roles. But definitely I'm a fan of her work. She was definitely a very non-Hollywood type person. She didn't necessarily like Hollywood or all that, all the politics, etc. there. So I think she was just a very decent person, and obviously wonderful in this part and in so many other parts. As the wife who ends up loving Shane, but also loving her husband. So she's kind of torn, which is really, an incredible subject for very cinematic subject, that inner turmoil. And all of this is unspoken, unsaid. It's all in the eyes and the behavior in all of that. Again, it's just one of those emotional movies. I actually hadn't seen it until a couple of years back, and since then I've seen it many times. It's definitely stuck with me. It's stuck with my heart. I talk on this channel about movies that I respect with my head and not with my heart. Well, this is one that I respect with my head and wholeheartedly with my heart. It's just a movie that touches you. I'm sure it's touched so many people. It's just those kind of movies, you can't really make them. They just have to fall in place, and you have to obviously plan and do all you can, have a great script, great direction, great performances, but then you need to have luck for a movie like that to come together and be really emotionally compelling. And that's just the sad truth that nobody wants to admit, that you do need to have an element of luck, of just everything fitting together right. The direction, the performances, the script, all of it has to just fit together right. The scenery, everything together. And this is one of those movies where everything just falls into place. So that's what I wanted to talk about Shane. Definitely follow us for more great content just like this. I got plenty of great stuff coming up. And thanks so much for listening to the Adam Kiss Show. That's all, folks.